All right, so I did my general warm up, and let's go ahead and go into squats. So when it comes to the squat, I got empty bar. I feel pretty good, nice and warmed up. Only thing different about my typical warm up is now I'm not listening to R&B music. Usually I would have like Voice Men on right now, but again, I'm doing a video, mic'd video. Now the funny thing is I don't have my microphone with me because I didn't charge it. So I have no music on, but you can still hear me perfectly because I'm the only one in this gym right now. So this is my gym. This is Synergy and Strength. You can see here, there is nobody here. Well, that is the AM training crew because I mean, it's every now and then we'll have people over, but I mean, that's the great thing about not training in a public gym. I used to train at 24-hour, but you can see that I have this nice little closed off gym, private gym, that me and my friend Anthony, Anthony mostly, I helped him set up in the early days, in the garage days. Yeah, he's made really great progress with his gym, and he's a the five love languages. He is a type that likes gift giving and getting gifts, and so very detail oriented when it comes to equipment, because he knows that that's his love to his clients, because he's also a powerlifting gym owner and also a powerlifting coach as well. He's my client. He's currently doing a deadlift only meet, but he's basically getting into sexy boy season where he's getting into bodybuilding. He went from like 270 to, I don't know, now he's lighter than me, around 190 or so. I'm currently at 208 because I went from 220 weight class down to actually 220, compete at 220, went down to around 203 because I felt like that was a lot of visceral fat. Now squats were feeling easy at 220. That's where I hit my 585 squat, but now I didn't want to feel too fat. I still want to look rather athletic, especially for this 38-year-old. I want to make sure that I look the part, because the thing is, when it comes to being a coach and physical therapist, you don't want to go to a dentist with no teeth. Same thing for a powerlifting coach or a strength and conditioning coach, right? And physical therapist, which is funny because I'm also a fucked up physio. Fucked up meaning that I do have my own injuries as well. But again, sometimes you got to be able to relate to patients, and man, can I relate to injuries. That's not for the lack of trying, that's not for the lack of knowledge, hopefully, but sometimes you just reach a good amount of the threshold of what tissues can handle, and I've done that a couple times. So let's get warmed up in the squats. That was my bar squat warm up. I already did my general warm up. I am going to use kilos today. Oh, actually, never mind. I'm going to use pound. So let's go ahead and do some squats with some pound plates. So with my warm up, I'll probably warm up to 455-ish or 465, depending, because I do have the squat bar right there, which is going to be 55 pounds instead of your normal 45-pound bar. And so I'm looking for clips. So this is what I mean about Anthony having attention to detail, These are Alico clips. They're ridiculously expensive for just being stupid clips. But the cool thing is that they're nice. They're probably one of my favorite clips. Reason why is because you can stick them on anything because of the magnet. Also, when it comes to just stripping them on, I can just go straight to the bottom of the shaft, giggity, rather than having to slide it and stroke it. Another giggity. And so, I like them. They're steady. They're easy. They grip really well. And again, why not? Why not use it? We got them. Actually, we got all kinds of clips. We used a couple before, and so we've used a lot of clips. And the thing is, you want to make sure that it's going to hold your weights. So everything's feeling pretty good. Only downside right now is that I think I've been talking a good amount, and I feel like I need to up my caffeine. Pepsi, of course. Now you're probably saying to yourself, Al, that's not responsible for you, drinking soda early in the morning. And I'm like, why? Because the thing is, why? I mean, you can make everything bad. Soda is probably not the best thing. If I can just drink some kind of caffeine, that'll be good. I like soda because it has carbs in it. Typically, if you want to train well, you want to be carved up. And it's not like you're depleted, but it will help out with energy. And typically, rule of thumb is that when you do have protein, you want to have about twice as much carbs in order for it to help out with everything, digestion-wise and uptake-wise. I also did drink my multivitamins this morning, and so my multivitamin has multivitamin along with, I take vitamin D along with omega-3s, my fish oil. Now, with fish oil, you don't want to have it on an empty stomach because typically you want all that, you take it with food in order for you to absorb it well, rather than it being digested for energy kind of thing. So I need to make sure I don't have an empty stomach, but I've trained both ways on an empty stomach and on full stomachs, like really full, like in my bulking days where I would eat 7,000 calories, I would almost eat spaghetti in between sets. But that's life of a powerlifter, right? The great thing is that training in this gym, I can do that if I wanted to. Doing that at a 24-hour gym or like global gym, a little difficult. You would have to almost sneak the spaghetti in a bag or something. All right, so 135 is solid. Let's go ahead and go into 225 because meathead math. Now, back in my early days of training, I would actually do like, I don't know, 10%. I remember putting on a spreadsheet all my warm-ups, but sometimes just lift. You know, there's train hard, train smart. That train smart part sometimes had more paralysis by analysis than it actually does help. Because, I mean, I'm sure you notice that some guys in the gym, they don't know what the fuck they're doing, but they're jacked as fuck. That's the train hard part, and sometimes I like that. So I said 225, I misspoke because this is actually 235 with the squat bar. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, Al, when are you gonna put on your belt? Well, a lot of people ask that, when exactly. It's kind of personal preference, to be honest. I get a lot from my belt, so I'll probably put it on, I tend to put it on at 315. I'm a 585, 585, not currently, but 585 was my max PR that I've ever had. So 585, I mean, I throw it on that 315. You can kind of figure out what works for you, because I want to be able to have it very specific to your heavy squats, but not to the point where you're only relying on your belt, right? I used to be anti-belt training before like in my first, I don't know, 2-3 years of training squat, bench, deadlift, because I was like, oh, if you're strong, you don't need a belt. This is your belt. But you're just throwing the baby out with the bathwater when you say stuff like that, because again, it's going to be able, when it comes to research, you're going to be able to produce more force because of intra-abdominal pressure. You're able to do all that stuff. So if you utilize a belt well, then good. You'll be able to have more time under tension, more weight, more intensity, and all that's progress. I mean, I'll give you an example, is that when I trained beltless, my max squat at the time was like, I think it was like 315 or something, right? That's my max squat. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put on a belt, try it out. Got my belt from Elite FTS. Don't know if you guys are familiar with that now, because that's an old school. That was more old school now. Everyone loves Rogue, right? But that was Dave Tate's kind of store, right? And so got my belt, trained with it. 315 was easy, so bumped it up. I was able to bump up my training, you know, to 365, 375 with a belt on. The cool thing is that when I went back to training beltless, I mean, I was like able to squat 345 beltless pretty easily. Again, that's just from getting strong overall and not having to worry about the optimization of your crutch of your belt or your beltless squat. It's just getting strong overall just helps getting strong. So that's the cool part. Now, the thing is, I usually wouldn't be talking as I squat, but you'll probably see me kind of do the same thing over and over again. And that's the powerlifting kind of ritual, right? The reason why powerlifters, at least for me, I develop rituals organically, not because I saw some cool guy bite his chain, bite his chain before he squats. No shade thrown, or dog tags. No shade thrown is just that, you know, that's just social media for you. But I approach everything in order for myself to remind myself that I need to do this. So for me, when I go up to a squat, if I have my belt, I'll push into it. I'll kind of do this like bull stance. It's just me telling myself to feel my hamstrings and feel my glutes and make sure, and then I'll bend forward, back, feel my belt go into place, because sometimes I'll have it too low, I'll have it too high. So then I have it on, I'll push against it to make sure I actually put my lever on for my belt, because sometimes I'll forget. I'll grab up to the bar, touch my chest, go out forward, because again, I want to make sure that that is the right height and that I'm feeling my stretch of my pecs, because I am going to get into this externally rotated position. So this is me concentrating, looking forward, having the right spacing, and then from there I'll push into the bar, get underneath it nice and tight. So me wiggling is just me getting tight, and then for me I do this stupid little twisting the floor that just tells me to get tight and use my hips in order for me to unrack the bar. It's, again, just more reminders in order for me to stay tight. And you'll see all of that once I actually do place my belt on. Beltless tends to be a little different because I don't have my belt to tell me that I need to remember my cues and remember all my stupid rituals. Now, our ritual is going to add 100 pounds to your squat? No, but it will make you more consistent, to be honest. So, and consistency, we all know, if you do that enough, it leads to some pretty nice gains. So 325 on the bar. This is where I throw my belt on. Like I said, I get a lot from my belt. I don't know if that's because my back tends to be my weak point in my training. I have had a good 3 to 4 herniations in my spine, 3 in the low back, 1 in the neck. And my heaviest squat beltless is actually 455, I think. I don't know if I've ever tried to max out on beltless training. It just feels like the juice isn't worth the squeeze when it comes to that. Because I know my history. I don't know if that's just me being paranoid. But again, sometimes being a little scared is okay. It's just because, again, it all depends on your goals. Like for me, when I first herniated my disc, I was warming up with 525, and anytime I go into a deadlift, if I have 525 on my program, I actually will add 5 pounds or decrease it 5 pounds. It makes absolutely no sense to avoid 525, but in my mind, 525 is the devil, and I'd rather just not have myself remind me of those dark times. The first time I herniated my disc, that took me 9 months to actually get a bar back on my back, which is funny because I'm kind of a seasoned vet now, because if I have a herniated disc, I've had it 2-3 more times. I'm like, okay, I've been here before. So let's do this. Let's squat this motherfucker again. Approaching the bar, again, talking out loud, trying to concentrate at the same time, but still do this voiceover. Now we want the belt tight, but not to the point where you can't push out against it. Pull up my shorts, take a deep breath, push against the belt, get aligned. Stare into oblivion. Stupid shuffle. Want to have the ribs down. Want to have the glutes squeezed. Good. Need more caffeine. So this is where I would kind of start jump roping, keep getting warmed up. I think I'm plenty warm. I think talking as I do my sets is actually tiring me out, to be honest. Maybe I'm not getting enough air in, or I'm actually maybe rushing my sets, because I will have a good amount of time in between sets in order for me to respond back to my clients that typically will text me in the morning, depending on their time zone that they're in. Me respond back to them depending on how their lifts are looking. Also have some other rehab clients depending on what they're presenting and asking me questions on their program. So right now, more caffeine. Again, 38 grams in Pepsi. It's not gonna be a lot for most people, but I get super jittery anytime I'm around the 100 mg one, so half a scoop of, or even like 1/3 of a can of Bang. I don't know what the kids these days are drinking, but even like green tea can get me pretty jittery too if I don't eat enough to absorb it or whatnot. But depending on how I feel, I could go to 365, 375 on the squat bar. But if I feel pretty good, I kind of go straight to 405/415 on the squat bar. I think I'm going to do that because I feel nice and Pepsi'd up. So for my program, today's Friday. I did squats on Monday. Monday I did a 5x5 of 425, 425. No. Sorry, 435, and that felt pretty good. Typically my Fridays kind of undulate in periodization and intensity. So last Friday was a lot of reps because it's low intensity. Today will be a little higher intensity. I'm looking at maybe sets of triple after I do potentially a work set, top set. We'll see how it feels. Top sets I tend to incorporate toward closer to a meet or anything like that, but I feel pretty good. I need to get used to handling heavier weights again, so that's why I am getting into that top set. Try it out, feel it out, and then kind of go from there. The cool thing is I got a nice A7 shirt on. I don't have to worry about chalking up, but I will chalk up my hands because I'm getting a little sweaty in my palms. So that's feeling pretty good. Usually I'm gonna take a longer break, but I guess instead of taking a break, we can start just shooting the shit because I don't want to turn off my camera and have to edit all this. Now, when I used to do YouTube a whole lot more frequently, I would worry about the angle of the camera. But now it's like, if you happen to watch this, cool. If you're still here supporting me after all these years, I appreciate you. So I'm not editing this like crazy. I used to be really, I think that's what killed it for me for YouTube, is that I was trying to make it so visually pleasing that I was getting almost to a perfectionist where I was learning different editing types of videos. And if it wasn't edited, I didn't want to put it up. I didn't want to upload it. And so we're going kind of more pure form content now. I'm sorry that this is in portrait mode for if I do upload this to YouTube. If I do upload it to Instagram, might be in my stories. If I do upload this to TikTok, if I do start one, then it'll be okay. Because you guys like portrait mode. So 425 felt well, or 415, sorry. Fatigue is hitting in. I start to lose my amazing math abilities the more I get tired. So where do we go from there? How do I up? A lot of my clients will ask, how do I get to my top set? Like, what weights do I use? Typically, you want to, right before you go to the top set, you want to have about 5 to 10% jumps, depending on how the factors would be if you're going more toward 5% jumps, smaller jumps, you tend to be a little on the weaker side, more absolute weaker side, as in, like, you're not maybe squatting more than 400 pounds or whatnot. And then also, no shade thrown. And then also, you tend to be more slow twitch oriented. What I mean by that is that if you got 80% of your max, if you're able to do more than 6 reps with that, you might be on the slow twitch side, meaning that you'll do well. It takes you a little bit more time to warm up. You won't get gassed out. I've had clients before that were super explosive and athletic, and if we did 5% jumps, even 10% jumps were a little bit too much in between. I remember homeboy, he squatted, one of my clients in Chicago, he was close to a 670 squat. I think he did 670 squat, and he in the 220 class. And before that, I think he had a jump of something ridiculous, like he went from 610 or something like that. Because I know, working with him throughout the years, the small jumps really gassed him out. So that's why we had those those bigger jumps for him. Now, if I did 10% jumps, then again, you're going to be the opposite. You're going to be a little bit on the stronger side. You're going to be a little bit on the fast twitch, kind of endurance is not that great side, right? Kind of like boom, one and done kind of thing. And so, yeah, that tends to be toward the 10% side. So for me, I am slow twitch motherfucker, which sucks because I picked the wrong sport in powerlifting. Ideally, honestly, I think I would do pretty good with CrossFit, being able to have the repetitions and AMRAPs and stuff that I do there. For example, 80% for me would be like, that would be roughly around, I don't know, 410, 420 in the squat, and 410, 420. At the time I was able to do 585. I mean, I could rep that out for 15 plus reps or so. So I probably can do that now, just because, again, my 1 rep max is a little bit further when it comes to progress of lighter weights. What I mean, I'll get into that next video, but all that to digress to say, what should I pick now? So if I'm going to do a 465 squat, and I have a 465, 5% of that is going to be roughly around 20 pounds or so. So yeah, I could put I might as well put in between 415 to 465. So add 25 pounds on that one, or sorry, 20 pounds altogether. So 10 on each. So that's 435. question is, how many reps do I do for warm-up? Well, it depends on your top set. If your top set is a single, you don't want to really do more than a single. If your top set is sets of 5 or so, you want to be close to 5. So things like that. I mean, for me, I've been working myself up to doing a bunch of triples here, and that kind of makes sense because my work, my back offs are going to be triples at possibly, actually I don't even know if I'm working up to a top set. I gotta feel it out. If I'm gonna work up to a top set and then do back offs of triples, or if 465 is going to be my triples. We'll kind of play it by ear because, again, depending on when this wonderful Pepsi kicks in. Thank you, Pepsi, for sponsoring this video. Right now, I do have another can ready. So usually when the caffeine hits, I can force myself to have tunnel vision, meaning that if I stare directly into something, not the sun, but I can almost see the outside peripheral kind of fade away. And that's when I know the caffeine is at its peak, because we want the caffeine to be at its peak. We don't want to have too much caffeine. We don't want to be under aroused. So you can Google something if you guys are nerds and you're following me, which you probably are nerds because you do follow me. There's something called the Yerkes-Dodson scale, fancy words for a bell curve, right? And so the y-axis is going to be the amount of performance, and the x-axis is going to be the amount of arousal, giggity. So what I mean by that is your performance is correlated to how freaking amped up you are, right? So if you're not amped up, you just woke up, your performance is gonna be pretty low. But if you had the right amount of Pepsi, the right amount of warm up, awakeness, good amount of sleep, you're aroused, you're in front of people, or YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, then your performance is gonna be peaked. If you're over-aroused, you're head-butting the weights, you're sniffing ammonia, and you're also taking 3 Bang energy drinks, you're gonna be super jittery and you're not going to be able to perform well, because you can have anxiety with your lifts and your performance drops down. That's not just for powerlifting, that can be for any kind of sports, any kind of thing that requires, mental focus along with performance. So even, if you follow chess, you might, and you're also super jittery, there is possibly a certain amount where you don't want to sniff ammonia while you do your Sicilian opening. Anyways, let's get into the squat, because I had a good amount of time to rest while I blabbed about pretty much useless stuff. All right, so ritual, right? Pull up my shorts, make sure they're not in the way. Fling out my arms, make sure my sleeves aren't in the way for my big guns. Locked in. Not bad. Definitely gonna go up from there. That's funny, I have a habit, I was about to turn you guys off because just in my squat, usually I record, turn off the record button, but you are now seeing behind the scenes of AM training. And so, I don't know if I'm gonna edit this part out because I'm super gassed, and I don't know if you can even understand through all my heavy breathing and I don't even know if I'm gonna talk about right here. So maybe we'll just rest and gaze directly into our eyes, each other's eyes, of course, because I see you, the guy with the ball of lotion waiting for me to have OnlyFans. Time to bust out the other Pepsi because I mean business. All right, so you know what would suck though? Is that if someone came in, because I mean I've been doing YouTube, well I started YouTube, I don't know if I'm still doing YouTube, since 2010 or so, and so I haven't kept that up, but I'm still shy in front of the camera. So for the OGs that are watching this and know me from YouTube, you know I do a lot of voiceover or commentary pre and post workout in my car, but I don't have time for that because right after this I gotta go and actually do my real job. My real job. I got 3 jobs. I am the director of physical therapy at my clinic. That was a flex. Yeah, that was a flex. Also, I do cash pay physical therapy, so I don't deal with insurances. I deal with cash money. Cash rules everything around me. And 3rd job, strength and conditioning coach, powerlifting coach. I program people. I have a good amount of remote clients. So hopefully the more content I make, the more you're interested, whoever you are. Thank you for staying tuned. If you're interested in coaching, hit me up. Hit me in the DMs and Instagram. That's where I respond most because I am a millennial. Gen Z, hit me up in TikTok. If I do upload this in TikTok, we'll see. I gotta find out what's trending on TikTok though, so I can get the right algorithm. So let's go to 465. You know what's cool though? Back in the day where I had to edit my videos, I would edit my videos with, not Photoshop, what's the freaking, it was Adobe product, right? For video, Premiere, I believe. And so that you needed a whole strong computer in order for it to, in order for you to edit, because it took up a lot of memory. Now, the crazy thing is now, you got CapCut. I'm still getting used to using it, but I think they even have options of it automatically editing it for you. I wish I had something like that before. You kids don't know how easy it is now, but I wish, because then I think they'd be able to AI edit it for you where they even take out awkward pauses. So if I ever had awkward pauses in this video, if I run it through CapCut, maybe they'll take it out. Who knows? But I still don't know if I'm going to upload this whole damn thing or take little bits and pieces in order for me to upload. Because again, sometimes when it comes to YouTube, that is long content form. Instagram, I feel like, is in the middle. TikTok is like, did I get your attention for the first 10 seconds? Did I retain it? Make sure you like and subscribe or follow, right? And so that's the hard part, is that trying to find the right algorithm in order for me to potentially find new clients. Who knows? But this is just me shooting the shit right before I squat 465. We'll see. I think I'll do this for a triple. If I only do it for a single, I'll edit this part out. No. All right. Let's get it. Ideally, we would hit this triple at least a 4x3. We are gonna do triples. At least my work set is going to be about 4 times 3 or 5 sets of 3, depending on how everything goes. Usually I write my programs, but I've noticed with some of my aches and pains and stuff like that, I'm not able to adhere to my program as well. So I'll have to kind of play some audibles, you know, do things where it's not planned, but still being able to train well and not feel so jacked up. Again, that's the nice thing about me being able to switch off, is that I can grade appropriately. Now, the hard part is, that's the point, is that where I'm at the point where I'm like, am I reducing the amount of volume and sets? Is it because I'm fatigued, or am I just being a bitch? So that's that fine line. We will still see. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Talk about a bill, y'all. Sorry, that was anticlimactic. I stopped in the middle of my set because I was thinking that I didn't turn off my Bluetooth. And why does that matter? Well, because then all the commentary I'm doing is not being recorded. That would suck. But I don't know why I lost. Maybe that's the reason why I don't do these mic'd up sessions, because I feel like I am getting a little distracted. But maybe the more I do it, the more I will not get distracted. All right, where was I? Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all. That's not part of my ritual, but Wu-Tang is where it's at. Third one a little difficult there. You know what that means? Just means I need more Pepsi. I'll see. It is currently 8:10. I have work in exactly 50 minutes. But that doesn't mean it doesn't count travel time. So typically I'll start leaving around 8:40, which means I have 30 minutes left. The great thing is that if I do happen to miss accessories, don't miss accessories. My clients are watching this, don't miss accessories. I'm able to make up for it during treating patients. Believe it or not, it's kind of cool. I think it's cool to have your physical therapist lift with you It may not be the same amount of weight that you're using while you rehab, but they practice what we preach kind of thing. I say the problem with most physical therapists is that they underdose. I mean, I'm giving the same exercise that I would do to my patients. And that's the thing, is it's gonna be different clientele, absolutely. Luckily I work for work comp physical therapy, and you need to be able to lift boxes, push heavy. So basically I treat them like athletes. I need you to deadlift, I need you to squat, I need you to do all the farmer walks and all that good stuff. Because again, why not? My problem is when physical therapists underdose. If you're offended by that and you're a physical therapist, it's probably you. So get your shit up. Again, depending on the clientele, of course, yes, absolutely. If they're post-op knee surgery and it's total knee, maybe we don't have them try to deadlift 50 pounds, but eventually. You're busy doing table exercises and it's already 8 weeks post-op and you're still doing foo-foo exercises like short arc quads, quad sets, and heel slides. Again, it depends on the patient, but that might still be pretty underdosed. All right. And also same thing for shoulders, right? We know when it comes to shoulders, I'm gonna go into off a tangent here. We know based off of research, you can have rotator cuff repair rehab and other rehab that's conservative. The actual conservative physical therapy for shoulders actually show a better outcome of at least 10 degrees of flexion with everything being the same. So not only did you just be aggressive for no reason, you also gave them 10 degrees less of flexion. So more pain, less results. Again, be aware of all that, right? So try not to be that physical therapist. Anyways, now I gotta check out that research to see if I was right. I wanna say it was like Long et al. I don't know, I didn't check that out. If you guys know in the comments, let me know. There's one person watching this. Look it up. Conservative physical therapy for rotator cuff repair compared to aggressive. Who is that? I think I only remembered his name because when I saw Long et al., I was like, giggity. Let's go. Easy way. Just realized I haven't sat down for this whole workout because I want to stay in view. But I think it's forcing me to not have to rest as much. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but definitely getting the work done. Supposed to have deadlifts after this. I might have to sub them out for unilateral deadlifts with my gym equipment in my clinic. And the hard thing is working at a work comp clinic is that the weights that I have now, I have a nice dumbbell rack that goes up to like 55 pounds, kettlebells that go up to 100. All of that I had to get on my own and try to get reimbursed because again, we don't have Olympic weight bar, which, Olympic weight bar, I am tired. Olympic bar, in order for us to have heavier weights, I have to get them, which luckily I'm the director, another flex for you. But the funny thing is, director of physical therapy for where I work at, that's just fancy words for I get to pick my coworkers. I'm not in charge of increasing their pay or whatnot, which if that was up to me, a rising tide raises all ships. I'd totally give them all the raises that they want. I love my team. So let's continue on. That was set number 2. I'm gonna catch my breath a little bit. We'll go set number 3. I think I have 3 and 4 in me, maybe 5 if I still have time, but that would be a good amount, right? 5 sets of 3. We're looking at a total volume of 15 reps. Now 15 reps at 465 versus Monday's 5x5 at 435. Tonnage wise, you're looking at Monday being more, but again, it's not about trying to always increase tonnage, because if that was the case, then it would behoove us to continue to go high reps, because you can absolutely do more tonnage when you do more reps compared to if I were to just work up intensity. So those are the things that you got to keep in mind when it comes to programming. Luckily, I am in the beginning of my macro cycle. Macro cycle, if you are not familiar with the jargon, is going to be basically, in powerlifting, you can think of as like 3 months of training. Usually 3 months, because when it comes to blocks of training, macro cycle can be as much as 1 year, but to make it more simple, we'll call it 3 months. And then a mesocycle, 1 month. Microcycle going to be like 1 week. So of course, all of those can be according to what your, how you program and what you're working up to. Like, let's say an Olympian, his macro cycle is going to be every 4 years. So then you look at the mesocycles of training for every year that build up the macro cycle. So all of those are, again, you got to look at what the literature says when it comes to programming. You want to have early on the macro cycle more hypertrophy conditioning out of it's almost like not meet prep, so off season, right? So off season things work on building more muscle, building your weaknesses. Currently my weaknesses is my back and my core strength. That is one thing I tend to skip the most because I hate that shit, to be honest. And I tend to I started first learning about everything before powerlifting was so popular. Squat, bench, deadlift, a lot of the coaches and they basically said if you lift heavy, your core is going to take care of yourself. So I kind of fell into that kind of thing. Plus I hated training core, so it's almost like a good excuse. It was very biased. And so now I'm paying for it because again, I feel like my core strength isn't good. What I'm doing to increase that is doing more ab rollouts because I suck at those. So I'm like the master of planks. I like planks. I think a lot of core strength is great to be able to prevent movement, but I definitely know that it was a limiting factor when it comes to continuing to build up muscle in the core because it's only isometric. But when it comes to doing the ab wheel on your toes, because I can do ab wheel on your knee, on the modified ab wheel, that's pretty easy. But the moment you go on your toes, it just feels like a whole new ball game. And so I've actually incorporated band assisted ab wheel. So I'll have the band hooked up at like a high height, and then by the time I'm at the bottom of the ab wheel, it de-weights you. And then throughout I think I've been doing it for a couple months now, or even weeks, that I'll start lowering down the band, and I'll use a thinner band. And so hopefully by the time I'm like pretty good at them, I can just get rid of the band and be able to rep out ab wheels that are super low. Because right now, like my ab wheel, it's not close to the floor, or at least I don't think it is. It looks passable, but I don't want it passable. I want it to look badass, to be honest. Like if you ever seen Dan Green do ab wheel, that's badass. He'll freaking go low. That guy's built freaking ridiculous. Anyways, I think I've been procrastinating enough. Let's get it. I don't know if you're tired of this angle. Let's go ahead and go a little cray-cray and go with the side angle. See, even lower down, you can freaking make fun of me if my depth isn't good. It should be pretty good, but we'll see. We know that powerlifting depth is crease of the hips below the top of the knee. I'm borderline that, so we'll see. I mean, I did get, for the first time in my life, got red lighted in my first squat attempt in my last meet. So that was my, I forgot this word. Man, I am tired. I got squat brain right now. When you first show up for something, your debut. That was my debut at 220, and I think I opened up with I don't know, what did I open up, 5? Because the plan was for me to squat 600, and I opened up maybe, I don't know, 525, and then I got red lighted. I was like, fuck. So I had to redo it again. And then my third lift was like 550 or something like that. And again, I think the ref was a little strict. Go back in my Instagram videos and you can see my hip crease is super below my top of my knee. But to be honest, I don't blame him. I feel like my singlet was kind of awkward, and it was kind of in a weird place where it may have looked like the crease of my hip was above my knee. I don't know. So maybe next time I need to like freaking wipe chalk in my hip crease to make it look like, hey, it's well below. But maybe I'm just a hater. Maybe that's just me trying to find excuses. Cash rules everything around me. I think we'll call it there. If you like this video, support me by liking, commenting, sending it to your gym crush. And other than that, I think that was a good workout. It was an hour long just to work up to 465 for sets of 3. Hopefully that has been informative. Train hard, train smart.